The former US First Lady, Rosalynn Carter, the wife of President Jimmy Carter, has died aged 96 after being diagnosed with dementia in May. Her husband, who was in the White House from 1977 to 1981, described her as his equal partner and a source of guidance and encouragement.
Now, the former First Lady of the US, Rosalynn Carter, has died. She was 96. Rosalynn was married to Jimmy Carter, who was president in the 1970s for 77 years. Her family say she died peacefully at her home in Plains, Georgia. Jimmy said that Rosalynn was his equal partner in everything he accomplished. He said that as long as Rosalynn was in the world, I always knew somebody loved and supported me. Rosalynn, who championed mental health and women's rights, is survived by her husband, her 3 children, 11 grandchildren, and 14 great-grandchildren. Earlier, I spoke to our North America correspondent, Shingai Nyoka, about the reaction to her death.
Tributes have been pouring in. A short while ago, we heard from President Biden, who described the Carters as an incredible family that brought a lot of grace to the White House. He also described both Jimmy Carter and Rosalynn as people of great integrity. We've also been hearing tributes from various members of Congress who have alluded to the fact that she was tremendously generous and that she served others, was dedicated to public service, and that she did so with grace and kindness. Former First Lady Melania Trump also posted her own tribute and said that Rosalynn Carter leaves behind a meaningful legacy, not just as a First Lady, but a wife and a mother. And she said, we will also remember her devotion to her husband and family. It's really a time when people have been remembering a woman who was, by many accounts, incredibly remarkable. She came into the White House in 1977 and really expanded the role of First Lady. Within a few months of her husband being appointed or elected president, he sent her as an envoy to South America, as an advocacy envoy, and there was a lot of criticism because she was not an elected official. But then she also carved out her own niche, establishing an office in the East Wing of the White House, where she championed the causes of mental health, caregiving, and women's rights. And even after they left office in 1981, after President Carter's one term, they continued with that public service. They volunteered for Habitat for Humanity and spent a week out of every year building homes across the continent. And then they also co-founded the Carter Center, which worked to develop peace and advance democracy around the world. So really an incredible woman. As you said there, former President Jimmy Carter paid his own tribute. For a long time, people said that they didn't know where Rosalynn ended and where Jimmy began, and that he spoke about her a lot, quoted her a lot when he spoke to his advisors. So a really storied romance there that lasted 77 years.